Hello guys, welcome back to another episode in Spring Boot. Today I'll start from where I left things off in the previous video. In the previous video I taught you the life cycle of servlets and JSPs. Now throughout this series I'll be teaching you all about servlets and JSPs inside the integrated development environment Intellij Ultimate Edition. Let's get started. First thing, let's make a servlet inside our application. So servlets are placed inside controllers, right guys? I've taught you how to make a controller in Spring Boot, and now I'll be teaching you all how to make a servlet, a Java servlet, right now. This differs from an original controller that one's in Spring Boot, and actually these Java servlets are now very deprecated in these times, but I'll be teaching you all how to make one. So here in the controllers package we select new and we select Java class. We'll give this the name Servlet 1. And next thing, how do you make a servlet? Actually, a servlet is a Java class that extends an HTTP servlet class. So here in the public class servlet1, we'll extend HTTP servlet to make it a servlet like this. Then the next thing, in Spring we have to provide a annotation to make it a web servlet. The annotation will be web servlet, and inside it we must provide a URL pattern. We say URL patterns, and here we give the name of the URL pattern. I'll give this the name Servlet 1 like this, and provide a star sign to make them provide all applicable servlets for this servlet, to provide the URL for everything after servlet 1 URL. And now the next thing is we can provide a do get or a do post method from this HTTP servlet. We just need to type do and G, and here we can automatic solution is provided by Spring Boot. So we can just press on here and the getter method will be created. The do get method will be created like this. Remember to remove this super.doGet request response like this, and we must map this servlet inside the web.xml file or the web.xml file. Here I'll show you how to map a web servlet. All we have to do is type servlet, and we can give the name of the servlet as servlet 1, and the next thing we can provide servlet class like here. You can say com.intellij.project.firstproject.controllers.servlet1 like this. Next thing, we must add a servlet mapping. We have to choose servlet mapping, and here we can give the servlet name as servlet1 like this, and the URL pattern will be /servlet1 like this. Now let's save this, and the next thing To make servlets available inside our application, we have to go to our first project application class and give an annotation for this class. The annotation will be at servlet component scan, like this. We'll provide the annotation and we'll save this, and that's over. And the next thing, we must make our JSP file or the view file. We'll go to our index.jsp as in here, and we'll provide some HTML tags inside our index.jsp file. We'll provide a HTML tag. We'll have a form made. Inside the form, the action will be the name of the servlet we are using. So it will be servlet 1. And the next thing, method we are going to give should be get or post. First, let's learn about how to make a get request. Okay, then the next thing, we say username here, and the next thing we'll have input tag. Its type will be text, and we can give a name for it. The name will be user. And the next thing, we'll have our password, an input type made for our password. Here it will be input and type will be password, like this, and the name will be pass. And the next thing, we can have our submit input button. We'll have input that has the type submit, and we'll have a value for it. We'll call this login, like this. Let's save all this. And the next thing, we have to have our names of the input to input tags, name, user, and pass remembered in our memory to do work with our servlet. In the servlet, let's create a function. First, we'll use the doGet function inside our servlet 1. Here, I'll have a string user made, which will be equal to, guys, do you know that we can use our HTTP servlet request and HTTP servlet response interfaces inside this? So we can have our request. So here we'll say request.get parameter. That's how we access this form's input tag called user with the name user and the next one with the password. So here inside request.get parameter, we'll give it the name user, which is here. And the next thing, we'll have another field is a string pass equals to request.get parameter, and here we'll provide pass for this, like in here. And the next thing, we'll make a static login. We'll have if block made. We'll check if the user dot equals Kulesh, and we'll have a AND operator and check if the pass dot is equals to 1 2 3, and if that's true, we can say response dot get writer dot write, and here we can write something inside our page using the response dot get writer method. Here we say you have logged in, and we'll concat our user to this, and we'll say and your password is pass, like this, and we'll have else clause as well. And if the else is there, we say response.getWriter.write your response, your credentials are wrong, like this. So this is how we use the servlet to write a doGet method, doGet function. Now the index.jsp is fine, the view is fine, that means the view is fine now, and we'll check on the webxml or the deployment descriptor, and it's also working very well. And we'll close this and we'll save them. And remember that we made this index controller Java class or the controller. Here you must have this also inside your application to run this example, because this controller will call the get mapping for the index.jsp JSP. And everything's okay as I can see it. It's time to run this and check the output. Let's run this. If everything's okay, we can go to the browser. Actually, everything is okay. So let's go to the browser now. Here we say localhost 8080. And we can see the HTML forms that we created in the previous example. Let's give this username and password incorrect one and say login. And we can see that we got your credentials are wrong printed. That means these credentials are false or wrong. Let's provide the correct ones and login. We'll say Kulesh as the username and the password will be 123, and let's press on login. Whoa, this is very amazing. You have logged in Kulesh and your password is 123. So we got our response from the correct static login from the correct static user and from the correct static password. So we can do this the other way again and check this. Your credentials are wrong. So we can do this many times, and if the credentials are false, are wrong, we get an error response like this. So let's give the correct one again and see. We say Kulesh as the username and password will be 123, and let's press on login. And we get you have logged in Kulesh and your password is 123. Now let's learn how to use a post request inside our application. First we'll go to the index.jsp and here we'll type post as the method, and all you have to do is change the doGet to doPost in here, and after that all you have to do is run this. Let's press on run. And if everything is right, we can load our project inside the browser. And everything is alright, so let's go to the browser and load our site. We'll enter wrong credentials and press login, and we get you have entered incorrect credentials. So as you can see here, no data has been passed when we used post. Let's try to use the correct ones. We say Kulesh and password will be 123, and let's press login. And here you see you have successfully logged in Kulesh and your password is 123. So that's how login works, and that's how the post request works. The post request doesn't show any details inside the URL and doesn't bind them but takes them in the body of the request. So to show the difference again, I'll make this to do get and this to get as well and run this. And let's load our page, and here we'll log in with the get request with incorrect passwords, and you can see that some data is being passed between the servlets when we use the get request. So you must remember that you should not use get request when logging into an application like this. It is a bad practice and you should never do that. So you should use only post for logins like this. Let's type the correct password and username and try to log in. And you can see that wow, you have successfully logged in Kulesh and your password is 123. So another thing for you to note is that you should not reveal your password to anyone when you log in. Just for this lesson, I used this sentence to show you that we can also access the password inside our servlet. So let's type incorrect details and press login, and you see you have entered incorrect credentials. And let's enter the correct ones and press login. And you can see that we have successfully logged in and your password is 123. Let's change this back to do post. In here the method to post, and here the method also to post, and run this again. Let's enter correct details and press on login. Here you should always give the correct details when logging in. So this is what I wanted to show you in this video. So today's lesson is this, and I hope you learned something good from this lesson, and I even wish for you to learn like that. So today's lesson is this, and it's over now, and I'll come up with another lesson another time. Until then, goodbye guys, and please take care.